Hello, my name is Natalie and I'm your English teacher. Today we are going to speak about shadowing. So you can ask, what does it mean, shadowing? Shadowing is practicing language by listening to a speaker and repeating what they say right after, mimicking pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. Start shadowing just right now. So, I speak English fluently. Now it's your turn. Great job! If you watch this video till the end, you will learn a lot of useful words and information. So let's get started. This is vocabulary you need for this lesson. Complex, meaning hard to understand. Comprehension, meaning understanding of something. Fluency, meaning natural use of language. Consistent, meaning staying the same over time or regular. And the last word is persistence, meaning continuing to try even when it's very hard.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a deep dive on something that might just revolutionize the way you learn English. We're talking about shadowing.
Ooh, shadowing.
Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
It's where you basically become like a vocal shadow to a native speaker. You're listening and imitating their speech at the same time.
Right.
And we've got some really fascinating material here that breaks down common mistakes people make when they're shadowing.
Okay.
And we're going to figure out how to avoid them so we can unlock the true power of this technique.
Yeah. I love shadowing.
I'm so excited to unpack all of this with you, our language learning expert.
I'm excited to be here.
So, you're the expert here. What is it about shadowing that's just so cool? What makes it such a good technique?
Well, it's interesting because you can actually get a lot of benefit out of shadowing because it kind of tackles so many aspects of language learning.
Right.
All at the same time, like pronunciation fluency, listening comprehension, even confidence,
Wow.
So it's like a multivitamin for your English.
I love that, a multivitamin. Okay, so our source material jumps right into mistake number 1. And this is something I've definitely been guilty of in the past, starting with material that's way too complex.
Oh, yeah.
I once tried shadowing a really fast economics podcast, and it was like trying to build a house on sand.
Oh, yeah.
It just all fell apart.
I think that's such a great analogy, and it highlights why this is such a common pitfall for a lot of English learners.
Yeah.
It can be very demotivating to try to shadow something that's way beyond your level,
Right.
It's like if you imagine you're trying to run a marathon before you can even walk,
Yeah.
you're probably going to get discouraged and just give up.
Yeah.
You'd be in trouble.
So, when it comes to building fluency, it's very similar. You need to build a strong foundation. So start with material that's just a little bit above your current level.
Okay.
It should stretch you a bit, but not leave you feeling completely lost.
So baby steps.
Baby steps.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Exactly. What really surprised me, though, was this next point. I thought shadowing was all about mimicking the sounds, but our source says that not understanding the content before you start can be a big mistake.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I thought it was just about the sounds.
It's very tempting to kind of just focus on pronunciation,
Uh-huh.
But imagine learning a dance routine without knowing the music.
Ooh.
You would just be kind of going through the motions without any real connection to what you're doing.
Yeah.
So shadowing is so much more effective when you understand the content first. You're not
Right.
just parroting sounds, you're internalizing how those sounds actually convey meaning.
So it's understanding the why behind the what.
Exactly.
That makes total sense. And speaking of what our source also mentions, ignoring pronunciation is a big no-no.
Oh, yeah.
But, if you're not paying attention to the sounds, aren't you kind of missing the whole point of shadowing?
Exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like if you're a painter and you're trying to paint a masterpiece, but you don't understand the different colors or the brush strokes,
Oh, yeah.
you're not going to be able to create anything beautiful, are you?
You're going to have a brown mess.
Exactly. And pronunciation is so much more than just individual sounds, right?
Uh-huh.
It's about stress patterns,
Yeah, yeah.
It's about where you emphasize certain syllables in a word. It's about intonation, which is the music of your voice.
Okay.
And if you ignore all these nuances, your English could sound a little unnatural.
Oh, so those ups and downs in your voice, that's what intonation is.
Yeah, exactly.
I always wondered about that. I guess you really have to train your ears to pick up on those details.
You do. And it makes such a world of difference. It really does.
So our source says not to rush the process. We shouldn't go too fast.
No.
I mean, I've been there. I used to think that speed was the key to fluency.
Yeah, we all been there.
I sounded like a chipmunk on Fast Forward.
Oh, yeah.
It was a mess.
I know, I've done that too, but think about it this way. Learning to speak fluently, it's like learning to play a musical instrument.
Okay.
You know, you're not going to start by playing, some complex concerto at lightning speed, are you?
No way.
You got to slow down.
Yeah.
Especially in the beginning. And that allows you to focus on accuracy. And that is the key to building fluency over time.
So it's about accuracy, not speed.
At least in the beginning, yeah.
So slow and steady wins the race.
There you go.
I'm seeing a pattern here. Our source also talks about skipping the practice of short phrases.
Yes.
So you're saying we shouldn't just dive headfirst into shadowing entire speeches.
Well, think about it like this. Remember that marathon analogy?
Yes.
You wouldn't train by running 26 miles on your first day, would you? You'd
Okay.
get injured. So, break the content down into smaller chunks like phrases or even individual words. And that makes the whole process so much more manageable and effective.
Okay, bite-sized pieces.
Bite-sized pieces. That's it.
Okay, so this next mistake really resonated with me using inconsistent materials.
Yeah.
I used to think variety was the spice of life.
Uh-huh.
So I would jump between different podcasts and YouTube videos all the time. But maybe that was just confusing me.
That's a great point, and it connects back to this bigger principle, right? Consistency is key.
Oh, here we go again.
So just like a musician, they practice their scales regularly to improve their technique. Using the same speaker or the same source for a while lets you internalize their specific rhythm and style.
Okay.
And that consistent exposure is what helps you build fluency.
So you're saying find a voice you love and stick with it for a while.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's it.
So no surprise here. Our source also talks about the importance of practicing regularly.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a no-brainer, right? But so many people make this mistake.
Yeah.
It's like building a muscle. You're not going to see results from going to the gym just once, are you?
Nope.
The same goes for shadowing. Short, frequent sessions are so much more effective than these like sporadic marathon sessions.
Okay, I get it. Consistency is queen. I'm learning.
Exactly. Consistency is key.
This next mistake is something that I think a lot of us have probably experienced, failing to record and self-check.
Oh my goodness.
I used to think I sounded pretty good, but then I heard a recording. And I was like, who was that?
Oh my gosh, it's so painful.
It was bad.
You're like, oh my gosh.
But I guess recording yourself is so important because it gives you that objective perspective.
Yes.
It's easy to miss those errors when you're in the moment and you're trying to keep up with the speaker. But listening back, you can really pinpoint what you need to work on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, this last mistake from our source material is fascinating.
Okay.
Overlooking body language and pauses.
Oh, yes.
So it's not just about the words.
No.
It's about like the whole package.
Yes.
I mean, think about how much we communicate without even saying a word, right?
Absolutely.
Our facial expressions, gestures, even the way we hold ourselves, it all contributes to the message. So I guess we need to pay attention to how the speaker is using those nonverbal cues.
Exactly.
It can really deepen our understanding and make our shadowing more natural and engaging.
It really can.
It's like becoming an actor, embodying the language, not just reciting it.
Yeah, I love that description.
And of course, our source reminds us not to give up too soon.
Of course.
I'm definitely guilty of that. Learning a language can be so frustrating sometimes.
It can. It really can.
You don't always see the results right away.
Exactly. And it's easy to get discouraged
Yes.
when that happens. But you have to remember, fluency is a journey, not a destination,
That's true.
So celebrate those small victories, learn from your mistakes, keep practicing consistently, and you'll get there.
It's all about that long game, so shadowing. It's more than just mimicking sounds.
It is.
It's about building a solid foundation, understanding the content, paying attention to all those subtle details, and most importantly, being patient.
So much patience.
With ourselves.
Yeah.
So much patience. So before we wrap up this deep dive, any final thoughts for our listeners? Any big picture ideas to leave them with?
Yeah, well, we've talked a lot about shadowing, but I think it would be interesting for everyone to consider how they can apply these principles to other areas of language learning, not just shadowing. So how can you use these ideas to improve your writing or even your listening comprehension skills?
That is a great question to ponder. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Listeners, remember, embrace the challenge. Have fun and celebrate those small wins along the way. You've got this. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, now you know everything about 10 common mistakes English learners make while shadowing. But you need, of course, 10 strategies with practical examples to get the best results from this technique. So, go to my Patreon page and you can get the link in the description of this video. And for now, our lesson is over. Thank you for watching, thank you for learning with me, and see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye!